Greetings, Art here, and today I'm going to cover clues that America is indeed Mystery Babylon. Isaiah 13 verses 1 through 13 describes a declaration of Babylon's fate at the hands of nations from faraway lands. Verse 14 describes how people fleeing Babylon will return to his own people, will flee to his native land. This goes to show that Mystery Babylon is indeed a land of immigrants and many diverse people, a melting pot. Verses 15 through 22 describes how the Medes will come against Babylon. As right now, the U.S. is nearly at war with Iran. And of course, the Iranians in ancient times were known as Medes and Persians. And that was once known as the Medo-Persian Empire, what we know as modern-day Iran. Isaiah 18 describes land beyond the rivers of Cush. Verses 2 through 3 describes a powerful nation, tall and smooth-skinned, whose land is divided by rivers, a people of strange speech, feared far and near. Does that not sound like the United States? Verses 4 through 7 describes how before Babylon's destruction, a remnant will escape to Jerusalem. And there's many times in the Old Testament and in Revelation where God is telling his people, "Come out of her, my people." Now we go to the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah 50, verse 3 and verse 41 describes how a nation from the north will come against Babylon. Now think about that. In the Bible, Jerusalem is the center of everything. Now find a map, look at Jerusalem, and go straight north from Jerusalem and tell me what you see. You're going to bump into Moscow, Russia. So in Jeremiah 50, it describes how the great country in the north will come against Babylon. Okay? Think about our news these days. Wars and rumors of wars. Birth pains. But who is the United States possibly going to be going to war with soon? Russia. So this land of the north of Jerusalem, will attack Babylon. Russia will attack the U.S. That's what the Bible is saying in prophecy. So, and I firmly believe that we are on the cusp of a major war and possibly World War III. I hope I'm wrong. Verses 4 through 8 describes Jews fleeing Babylon. And again, this is another spot where God commands his people to flee Babylon, to escape its plagues. Jeremiah verses 11 through 12 describes Babylon as a haughty and arrogant nation. It's a nation born from a mother nation. Is America not a land of arrogant people, haughty people? And America was born from Great Britain. That is the mother nation. This is in line with Daniel 7, which describes a lion with eagle wings. The eagle's wings are plucked, and the lion is forced to stand alone. So America is the wings of the lion in Daniel 7. Those wings are plucked. America's symbol, or crest, is an eagle, while Britain's is that of a lion. Now we'll go to Jeremiah 50. Jeremiah 50, verse 23, describes how Babylon is the hammer of the whole earth. Now, as I mentioned in my first video, I mentioned how America is the world's policeman. And that's very true. And we are the hammer of the entire earth. Jeremiah 51 verses 2 describes how foreigners will be sent to invade, to winnow the nation from inside. Now, look at the current American border crisis. Again, Jeremiah 51, God is prophesying, he's telling you in the future that Babylon will be invaded by foreigners. Again, if that doesn't sound like our current headlines, I don't know what does. Verses 7 through 8 talks about how the influence of Babylon has made all other nations intoxicated and mad. Verses 9, 10, and 50 describe how Mystery Babylon, again, it describes how it's a melting pot of nations. And again, it gives a warning to flee to Zion. Verse 13 describes it as a land by many waters, rich in treasures. Verse 28 calls for the Medes, again the Iranians, to come against Babylon. Verse 48 describes a kingdom from the north, once again, Russia. Now look who has an alliance right now. Iran, Russia. Look who's forming an alliance against Israel. Iran, Russia. More clues are found in Revelation 17. Verse 6 describes the atrocities done to the lost sheep of Israel and its scattered 10 tribes. Could it be possible that these tribes include the Irish, Native Americans, and African Americans? It's possible. Verse 9 describes Babylon sitting on 7 mountains. Now, as the world superpower, the premier superpower of the earth, America is the only country on earth with military bases on all 7 continents, or 7 mountains. Revelation 18, verse 3 describes how all nations are corrupted by Babylon's influence. Look at Hollywood and the weirdness it produces. America is also the #1 exporter of pornography throughout the world. Verse 3 also describes how the merchants of the earth have grown wealthy from her excessive luxury. Verse 4 gives another warning to flee Babylon, just like the warnings I described earlier in the Old Testament. And again, I mean, that should fascinate you that throughout the Old Testament and also the New Testament, book of Revelation, God keeps telling his people, flee Mystery Babylon. God again says to come out of her, my people. Verse 8 describes how she will be consumed by fire. Verse 11 through 13 describes how merchants of the earth will mourn because no one will be left to buy their goods. These merchants on ships will keep their vessels at a distance from Babylon's shores, out of fear of sharing in its plagues. To me, it sure sounds like the ships won't draw closer out of fear of radiation fallout. Those ships are going to stay back from the shores of Mystery Babylon. And again, after it's burned with fire. And the book of Revelation describes great pillars of smoke rising from Mystery Babylon. Now, if that doesn't sound like a mushroom cloud, I don't know what does. I think the Bible's telling you clearly really what's going to happen. Verse 15. It's interesting. It describes Babylon as clothed in linen, scarlet, and purple. Now, this is something I found very interesting. We're going to break it down. So in the Bible, linen is usually the color white, kind of like this, kind of pure white. Scarlet is red. Now, according to my research, in ancient Israel, they did not recognize the color blue or dark blue. They didn't really have a word for blue. Blue and purple was all called purple. So it's pretty clear as day. Revelation 18, verses 15, gives the colors of Babylon as red, white, and blue. Now, for those who wish to debate me and argue with me, I've even had some try to insult me. I want y'all to know, I hope you're right, and I hope I'm wrong, because I live in the U.S. I hope I'm dead wrong. But, unfortunately, I've studied enough of this to know the truth, that America is Mystery Babylon, and judgment is coming. So I implore you, get ready. Get ready. And if you haven't already, accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, and do it now. Good starting point is Romans 10:9. Read that and follow that prescription for salvation. I'll see you later.